So tell me, how do y'all start y'all's day?
Morning routine, 2 things you can't live without. 2 things you can't live without. Bronzer and cocaine. Wake up, put on bronzer, cocaine, we're good for the day.
Bronzer, then cocaine.
And now I'm a senior in college, and here I am. Yeah, my 2 go-tos, bronzer and cocaine.
And this is the first day of spring break.
First day of spring break.
There you go. Welcome to the first day of spring break. Bronzer and cocaine. God, I feel funny. I've cut out like everything from my life. No drugs, no alcohol. And now keto. Day number 3. I'm dreaming about peanut M&Ms and desserts and sugar, but I'm doing all right with it. How's everybody doing? Hey, welcome to the show. I have clips of Joe Biden. There was a big Senate hearing today. I have clips of, I have some stuff from the Boeing situation. People might think that guy didn't actually kill himself. So yeah, interesting conspiracy theory. I don't have any news updates on Kate Middleton, but she is missing. How weird is that? The same thing that happened to me yesterday has happened to me today. I'm getting somebody calling my phone with no caller ID. Exactly the same thing that happened yesterday. I wonder if somebody's trying to harass me. So there you saw the phone switch back. I'm not picking up, but yesterday I had to turn it on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why that's happening. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to start out with negative news. Also, the show from yesterday was taken down because I showed the clip of Donald Trump getting cheers at the UFC. So if you want to see that show, normally you have to be a premium subscriber on Rockfin to watch my show on Rockfin, because that's the way you get Rockfin bucks. But I turned off the premium feature and made it free for everybody. So you can see yesterday's show if you want the video version by going to rockfin.com/lifttheveil, or you can listen to the podcast, which is still posted, which is at iTunes, etc. So Michelle says, you don't think Kate is missing? They said she wouldn't be around until Easter. Yeah, she had some kind of surgery. They found like 15 things wrong with that picture. So I was reading up on it, and then they showed some picture of the back of her head inside of a car to prove that she still exists, to prove proof of life. So Andrew Tate got arrested. I have him giving a statement outside of the courthouse or wherever he is. He's going to be extradited to the UK. So I have that news. I have a bunch of clips from the Senate hearing today on Joe Biden's stealing of inappropriate keeping of classified documents. So that's going to be the well, it's not the beginning, but that's going to be a lot of the lead up to Boeing stuff. And yeah, the whistleblower is found dead in a parking lot, huh? Right after giving some testimony about the things that are going wrong with Boeing. I mean, if you look at Twitter, there's just stories all the time about airplanes basically falling out of the sky, so it's, I don't know if you guys feel safe like it's safe to fly anymore with all the DEI stuff. And then the fact, and I have an article that the FAA tested Boeing and they came up short on all kinds of safety measures. So, and Al Jazeera did an undercover investigation, and they found that people say they don't want to fly on those planes. So I have all that. This is what I'm dreaming of right now, is skinny dipped cups. These things. That's what I'm going to get. These things here on the left. Skinny dip dark chocolate peanut butter cups. You can have peanut butter, nuts, but you can't have anything with added sugar on this keto diet. It's supposed to help your brain. I say so far, it's not helping my brain. My brain is still a mess. But I do my best to bring you guys the show every day, every weekday at least, at the scheduled time, even with climate change and the time change, even though the time change kind of screws things up too. So Bitcoin, inflation came in today. Inflation came in hot. So the Fed is not going to be cutting rates anytime soon. Expectations for future rate cuts are down. Bitcoin dipped kind of on the news, but then came back. I have a long statement from RFK. Yeah, there's another one. No caller ID. I don't know why I get these. This happened yesterday too. I wonder if they want me to pick up the phone or something. You guys can tell me if I should pick up the phone, but then I have to disconnect my camera because this is my phone right here. Look, you can see under my nail and everything. So weird. Somebody keeps calling Lift the Veil. My personal number, not even my Google Voice number. If you want to call the show, you can call the Google Voice number. If you're calling to harass me or what have you, everybody knows the number to that. So Pirate X Pirate says happy Taco Tuesday. Where Bitcoin came back okay. It's a 71 something still, even though it went down to like 68 something. So yeah, you can call in the main number to the show if you're watching to harass me. I still hear reports of that guy Red Bar doing some kind of expose on me, but we'll see if that happens. No idea. Good to see everybody in the chat. What's up, K Bright, Suburban Wasteoid, Frank W, Gary Americano. Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for supporting the show. I appreciate you guys. You really are. Welcome. Number. Okay, so that's me. Okay, let me take it. This is Nathan. And they hung up. So that's weird. Who's trying to harass me? Why would they want to do that? So, okay. So somebody did call in the show number from an unknown number. So somebody is trying to call me from a blocked number for some reason. So we'll take that call. They just hung up though this time. So I'm not sure what's going on. They know the show phone number and everything. So we'll see. All right, getting started with the show. Hope everybody's good. Thanks, people. Again, thanks everybody who supports the show. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for ordering t-shirts. I have a few orders going out today too. So here's the intro. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman, and I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, and if you'd like to support the show, you can drop super chats. That's cool. You go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. We try to get to 6 coffees during the show. So if you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil or buy a t-shirt by going to truthclothing.io. All right, let me show you. Somebody who bought me a coffee last said they like seeing Joe Biden be ridiculous. So here's Joe Biden doing that thing.
As you just heard, Rose, many heard her say, many Americans pay for prescription drugs more money than anywhere in the country. As you just heard, Rose, many heard her say, many Americans pay for prescription drugs more money than anywhere in the country.
Anywhere in the world. More money than anywhere in the world is what he meant for prescription drugs. Even though that's the way he talks, Raskin today in Congress said how great Biden is. Listen to this.
Of the President of the United States, whose soaring oratory, powerful historical analysis, and devastating extemporaneous repartee with even the most skilled ninja hecklers of the Freedom Caucus were on full display at the State of the Union address last week for the whole country to see.
Yes, that's
The
exactly
President of the
what we
United
saw.
States.
That's exactly what we saw. Skilled oratory and repartee. So there's something going on in Haiti right now. Haiti is being overrun by apparently cannibals, although I've seen some dispute about that, whether it's really cannibals or not. The guy is called Barbecue, but apparently it's not because he likes to barbecue people. But I see at least one person challenging the narrative that it's all cannibals. But I had a clip to show you of cannibalism. Apparently it's a couple years old, though, of people in Haiti committing cannibalism and actually eating the people they kill. But that is in the news. So this is in the news too. Biden administration officials say they're preparing for a massive surge of Haitian migrants after thousands of inmates escaped the country's prisons. All right, so here's that clip where they say we're going to prepare for a massive influx of Haitians from this stuff that's going on over there. Have you seen Barbecue? The leader resigned, and they're trying to say it's not an S hole or a S hole. That's what Donald Trump called Haiti a while ago, or said, there were shithole countries, and everybody said, oh no, Haiti's not a shithole country. And then they're just trying to prove everybody wrong. So here is the clip saying that officials are preparing for a massive influx.
So what's the difference between Haiti and a failed state? It's telling, right? We can't really identify them because the gangs are in charge. The government has been thrown out. And as a Florida man, I'm deeply concerned about this wave of people that we're about to have, that we are having, coming from Haiti, and it will accelerate because I've gone to Opelika and I've spent time with the folks that are engaged in Operation Vigilant Sentry, and they say the number one push factor that drives these Haitians into Broward County, Palm Beach County, where they don't disperse throughout the country, they stay in Southeast Florida, that driving factor is the deterioration of conditions in Haiti. So what are we doing to prepare for that wave and to ensure that these people are not paroled into the United States as the administration has done with people on the southern border, but instead are repatriated back at the dock at Port-au-Prince?
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Congressman, we're doing a number of things to ensure that we're keeping track of the situation and we're prepared. At the moment, we have not yet seen large numbers, what we would characterize as a maritime mass migration. But we are alert to that
mass migration, though.
We are alert to that possibility. I think you're right that the driving conditions in Haiti could very well press more people. So we've recently approved some additional assistance that we can provide to the Coast Guard. I think that has now fully been approved. We'll be providing notifications if we haven't already to provide additional shipboard assistance.
Because I've talked to the Coast Guard, and what they say would really support them would be more naval vessels, would be DOD support. And because I think you correctly said that there is an anticipated mass migration here, there are specific legal authorities that we can access that I would implore you to access. Specifically, George W. Bush signed Executive Order 13276. And in that executive order, there is the ability for any president to designate an anticipated mass migration and then get gray hull naval vessels into the Straits of Florida to deter that migration and then to repatriate those people before they get to Florida.
There you go. That's the situation from Haiti. We might be expecting illegal immigration from Haiti, mass migration because of the problems going on there where they're supposedly eating people. So here's Andrew Tate got arrested. Here he is talking about the satanic elites. I should have put satanic in the title. Every time I put satanic in the title, that's when we really get people tuned in. He says that so he and his brother got arrested, and he is going to be extradited to the UK, I believe. So
unfortunately, I don't think many people in Romania understand, but in the West, in the countries that are owned by the Satanists, with a certain level of fame, you either put on a dress or you go to jail, and I'm happy to make my choice.
He said, it's hard to hear him. He said, people don't understand that the West is run by the Satanists, and you either have to put on a dress or go to jail. So that's the thing that's going on right now is the humiliation ritual. So here we go. I think it's too quiet. I think it's too quiet to hear, as a matter of fact. So I'm not going to play it. Too hard to hear him. So that's his first message after getting released. I think that's the only video of it. I don't think I have better. Let's see if this is any better. I'll play it just in case.
Unfortunately, I don't think many people in Romania understand, but in the West, in the countries that are owned by the Satanists, with a certain level of fame, you either put on a dress or you go to jail, and I'm happy to make my choice, which is jail every single time. My soul is not for sale, neither are my principles. We are innocent men. No, we're very innocent men, and in time, everybody's going to see that, and we're very excited to finish this judicial process and get our next.
There you go. So he says you got to put on a dress or go to jail if that's the choice. So he says he's going to go to jail every time. Here's Joe Biden talking about executive action on the border. There was a report that he was going to use executive action for the immigration crisis to close the border and maybe reenact some of Trump's old policies that he got rid of. Now he seems to be saying, he says it's just going to take care of itself. Here we go.
President, what is an border executive action? An executive action on the border.
Count on the border action happened by itself. Passing it.
The Congress can't come to an agreement.
Well, they haven't yet.
Help them.
They haven't yet. I'm helping them.
President, what is an border?
So he says, oh, it's just going to happen all by itself. All right, here's the clips of, I have the clips from the Senate hearing today, or congressional hearing today, about Joe Biden's mishandling of classified documents. So I'll give you a number of clips from that meeting today. It was pretty interesting, and there are a bunch of stuff on Twitter about it. So this is Jim Jordan opening the hearing. Just explained all of the things that Joe Biden did and why he's not being charged.
Pursuant to an agreement with the ranking member Nadler and without objection, Chairman Comer and ranking member Raskin will be permitted to participate in today's hearing for the purposes of making opening statements and asking questions of the witness. They each will receive 3 minutes for an opening statement and 5 minutes to question the witness. The chair now recognizes himself for an opening statement. Robert Hur was appointed special counsel on January 12th, 2023. He had a fundamental question to address. Did Joe Biden unlawfully retain classified information? The answer, yes, he did. Page 1 of Mr. Hur's report, he says this: our investigation uncovered evidence that President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after his vice presidency when he was a private citizen. He further writes, Mr. Biden willfully retained marked classified documents about Afghanistan and handwritten notes in his notebooks, which he stored in unsecure places in his home. Joe Biden kept classified information, and Joe Biden failed to store classified information properly. Mr. Hur made these determinations after interviewing 147 witnesses. He examined 7 million documents, including emails, text messages, photographs, videos, toll records, and other materials from both classified and unclassified sources. But there's more. Joe Biden not only kept information he wasn't allowed to keep, and he not only failed to secure that information properly, he also shared it with people who weren't allowed to see it.
Like his ghostwriter.
Shared that information with his ghostwriter.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, this is information that only individuals with a security clearance are supposed to see. Mr. Hur told us on page 200 of his report that it's the kind of information that, quote, risk serious damage to America's national security. And what did Joe Biden have to say about all this? What was his explanation? On page 94 of Mr. Hur's report, Joe Biden said he took his notebooks with him after his vice presidency because, quote, they're mine. And every president before me has done the same exact thing. Never mind the fact that he had never been president when he took this information. But what comes through is Joe Biden felt he was entitled. You can almost hear it. You can feel the arrogance in the statement. They're mine. But even with all that, Mr. Hur chose not to bring charges because, quote, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury as he did in our interview of him as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. A forgetful old man who Mr. Hur said did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting on the first day of the interview when his term ended, and forgetting on the second day of the interview when his term as vice president began. Mr. Hur produced a 345-page report, but in the end, it boils down to a few key facts. Joe Biden kept classified information. Joe Biden failed to properly secure classified information. Yeah. And Joe Biden shared classified information with people he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. There you go.
Joe Biden broke the law. But because he's a forgetful old man who would appear sympathetic to a jury, Mr. Hur chose not to bring charges.
All right. So that's the opening statement from the case, which lays out the case against him. So here is Special Counsel Hur verifying that he willfully retained classified materials at the end of his vice presidency when he was a private citizen.
My team and I conducted a thorough, independent investigation. We identified evidence that the president willfully retained classified materials after the end of his vice presidency when he was a private citizen.
Mm-hmm.
This evidence included an audio recorded conversation during which Mr. Biden told his ghostwriter that he had, quote, just found all the classified stuff downstairs, end quote. When Mr. Biden said this, he was a private citizen speaking to his ghostwriter in his private rental home in Virginia.
There you go.
My team and I conducted...
So that's the evidence they have against him. They're choosing not to charge him, even though they're charging Trump. Did the White House ask to get the report changed?
And did the White House get the report before the report was made public?
We did provide a draft of the report to the White House counsel's office and members of the president's personal counsel team for their review.
No, I understand. And did the White House then, once they got the report before it went public, did the White House try to weigh in with your investigation on elements of that report and frankly, get the report changed?
They did request certain edits and changes to the draft report.
And did the White House...
They tried to get the report changed. So that's an indictment against them. Here's somebody losing it. Representative Cohen losing it over Joe Biden being called senile in the report. Here he is. This is a 2-minute clip. So I have a few more clips from this. Scott Bibler says, how do I feel about Gavin Newsome? I don't like him. I think I don't find him very likable, as a matter of fact. Like, I don't think he'd be a good candidate for Democrats. He did terribly in the debate against DeSantis. So I don't like him. How do you feel about him? I think he's terrible. And he cuts deals for his friends. Hasn't solved the homeless problem here in California. People, when you tell them you're from California, they think you're insane. They're all, you know, because our homeless and our cities and all of that. So I live in a nice part of California where we don't have that many homeless people and crime isn't that high, but the cost of living here, people can't afford houses. You can barely afford to live. So that's why I appreciate people who donate to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. You can drop coffees there and messages. I'll check in about 7 minutes. See if anybody dropped anything. I appreciate it if you guys want to support the show. And California is insane under Gavin Newsome. So let's see. Oh, I have this clip first. So here's somebody having a meltdown over him being called senile.
It appears to me, and I think it would appear to the American public, that these minor discrepancies, as far as dates and after a long period of time, was not the basis. It was not the basis for your decision to decline to prosecute. It was the fact that you didn't have the facts, that he acted differently than Trump, that he voluntarily provided the documents, that he complied with the Justice Department, that he didn't try to obstruct justice. Those were the reasons you didn't prosecute him, not because he missed a few dates.
Congressman, my reasons for my declination decision are set out in my report, and I stand by the words in the report, sir.
Well, thank you. And I think I'm encompassing them in my what I'm saying to you is that there was not anything to do with his memory why he wasn't chosen to be, you chose not to indict him. It was the difference in the facts in the case and how he dealt with it. The fact is, Mr. Biden sat through 5 hours and he did an admirable job. And he did an outstanding job in the State of the Union, laying out the case for the future of America, for the middle class, for democracy around the world, for standing up to the Russians, not bending down to them. That's what's important. Not if you can be like on the $64,000 question, assuming it was legit, and answering every single question correctly. That's not what you need to be president. To be president, you need to have values. You need to have an understanding of what values America has and needs to maintain to keep the world safe and peaceful. That's dealing with Ukraine. That's dealing with difficult people like Netanyahu in Israel to try to get something done that's correct. That's what Joe Biden does. And understanding Social Security and Medicaid are important institutions that help seniors, not senile people. I mean, I really object to that comment. People see nobody suggests he's senile, and that's disrespectful of senior people with any kind of memory disability. Lots of seniors have memory disability, but they're not senile, and to do such was shameful. Joe Biden is a competent, good president who knows American values. I turn.
Gentleman's time has expired.
All right. Yeah, Joe Biden's amazing. We have so many people coming out saying Joe Biden is so amazing. He's so capable. You had Morning Joe Scarborough, saying how amazing he is, how he's the most competent ever. Let me see if I can find that clip again. Joe Scarborough. I don't know how to spell his name. Morning Joe Biden. Let's see. Oops, dropped my vape. Yeah, there's Morning Joe. This is him, I think.
But comparing that guy's mental state, I've said it for years now. He's cogent. But I undersold him when I
love questions. I better not start the questions. I'll get in trouble.
What's your message for Super Tuesday voters? Everyone, please move this way. Super Tuesday, so do you have a message for voters? Thanks, come on.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
But I'm supposed to leave for a meeting with the Business Roundtable on the telephone. But I'm going to hang around and listen a little bit. So, with your permission, I'd like to stay if you and my staff will tell me when to drop dead out.
Intellectually, analytically, because he's been around for 50 years, and I don't know if people know this or not. Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is, and
you guys hit me forward. I'm winning 5 in a row. You guys only look at the New York Times.
You guys get the idea. So Joe Biden is amazing. He's the best. I have here Senator Jayapal said Biden is totally innocent and that he was exonerated by the report.
So this lengthy, expensive, and independent investigation resulted in a complete exoneration of President Joe Biden. For every document you discussed in your report, you found insufficient evidence that the president violated any laws about possession or retention of classified materials. The primary law that you analyzed for potential prosecution was part of the Espionage Act, 18 U.S.C. 793E, which criminalizes willful retention or disclosure of national defense information. Is that correct?
Congresswoman, that is one statute that we analyzed. I need to go back and make sure that I take note of the word that you used, exoneration. That is not a word that
I'm
appears
going
in
to
the
continue
report,
with my questions.
I'm
going to continue with my questions. I know that the term
I ultimately reached
I know
related to
that
whether
the term
sufficient evidence existed such that the likely
you didn't-
outcome
you exonerated
would be a
him.
conviction.
I know
I
that
did
the
not
term
exonerate him.
willful
That word does not appear in
retention
the
has a
report,
Mr. Hurd, it's my time. Thank you. So this lengthy, expensive.
You exonerated him. Yeah, you just make up facts. All right, checked my coffees. Haven't gotten any yet. Still hoping that we'll get some before the end of the show. Hoping to get to 6 if possible. All right. Go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil if you want to support the show, or you can drop a super chat or buy t-shirts, either one. All those things are acceptable means. Here is how Joe Biden tried to destroy evidence, or Joe Biden and his ghostwriter tried to destroy evidence. Here we go. Oh, actually,
I think this is interesting.
Let me say this. Thank you over on Rockfin. Okay. Jacob's Ladder, appreciate you. $20 super tip over on Rockfin. That helps a lot. That's 4 coffees right there. So thanks, Jacob's Ladder. Appreciate you guys over on Rockfin. Sorry I don't shout out you guys enough. Appreciate you guys over there. Yeah, if you ever need a show, if it ever gets deleted, go to rockfin.com/lifttheveil, and appreciate everybody who's tuned in over there as a subscriber. So thanks, guys. I get thanks for the support over there. I appreciate you guys. All right, and we'll still try to get some more coffees if possible.
Interesting, because here's the scary part. Page 200. I said this earlier in my opening statement. Page 200. Joe Biden. This is a quote. Joe Biden risked serious damage to America's national security when he shared information with his ghostwriter. Shared it with his ghostwriter, the guy who was helping Joe Biden get $8 million. And oh, by the way, Mr. Herr, what did that ghostwriter do with the information Joe Biden shared with him on his laptop? What did he do after you were named special counsel?
Chairman, if you're referring to the audio recordings that Mr. Zwanitzer created of his conversations with
exactly
Mr.
what
Biden,
I'm referring to.
He slid, if I remember correctly, he slid those files into his recycle bin on his computer.
Tried to destroy the evidence, didn't he?
Correct.
The very guy who was helping Joe Biden get the $8 million, Joe Biden had used the motive for Joe Biden to disclose classified information, to retain classified information, which he definitely knew was against the law. When you get named special counsel, what's that guy do? He destroys the evidence. That's the key takeaway in my mind. That's the key.
There you go. So they actually, he actually tried to delete it. So there was interviews caught on tape with Joe Biden disclosing the personal information, and then the guy tried to delete it. Here's more. Here's Matt Gaetz who gets them. That the classified documents were not actually secured.
February 8th, the White House question, Mr. President, why did you share classified information with your ghostwriter? The president, I did not share classified information. I did not share it. I guarantee I did not. That's not true, is it, Mr. Herr?
That is inconsistent with the findings based on the evidence in my report.
Yes, it's a lie. It's just what regular people would say, right? Yeah, all right. So the next one. And all the stuff that was in my home was in filing cabinets that were either locked or able to be locked. That wasn't true either, was it?
That was inconsistent with the findings of our investigation.
Another lie, people might say, right? Because what you put in your report was among the places Mr. Biden's lawyers found classified documents in the garage was a damaged open box. So here's what I'm understanding, right? As Mr. Armstrong laid out, you find in your report that the elements of a federal criminal violation are met, but then you apply this senile cooperator theory that because Joe Biden cooperated and the elevator doesn't go to the top floor, you don't think you get a conviction.
Okay. So yeah, that's the latest news from the trial. You can see, yeah, Joe Biden mishandled documents. He willfully concealed that he did that. And then the ghostwriter tried to destroy evidence. So that's all the news from the hearing today. You might have heard they're going to ban TikTok. Thomas Massie is pointing out that the TikTok ban is a Trojan horse because it gives the president the power to ban websites and internet hosting services. So Thomas Massie said the so-called TikTok ban is a Trojan horse. The president will be given the power to ban websites, not just apps. The person breaking the new law is deemed to be the U.S. Internet Hosting Service or App Store, not the foreign adversary. And he shows some links to that. So actually, Rumble is going into the web hosting business, sort of like Amazon Web Services, apparently. Rumble is making an offer to TikTok. They wrote, in the event that ByteDance divests its ownership in TikTok, Rumble is ready to join a consortium with other parties seeking to acquire and operate TikTok inside the United States. Specifically, we are ready to serve as a cloud technology partner. This is the new business that Rumble's trying to get involved with, is cloud services. So it says yesterday, Rumble announced the public launch of the Rumble Cloud, a new infrastructure as a service offering that champions the free and open internet. All data on the Rumble Cloud is stored safely and securely at sites inside of the United States on Rumble's own neutral and independent infrastructure. So I've talked crap about Rumble before. I don't actually broadcast on there, even though maybe I should. I don't actually broadcast on there because I haven't seen a big benefit from it, and I don't know anybody who's gotten a big benefit from it, except some of the major players that have their stuff promoted. But actually, Nick Fuentes does well on there. I sometimes tune in. I tune into stuff on Rumble. So how's their stock doing? I haven't checked the Rumble stock for a while. Let me check them out. Rumble. Oops. No, that's not the right one. Not Rum. It's Rumble Inc. So yeah, they're up to 18% today. Their stock is. This is the Rumble stock chart. Rumble stock is up 18% on the news that they're launching a new Rumble cloud, and they might host TikTok. They're thinking about hosting TikTok. So that's interesting news. And their stock is up big today on the news. So I would have bet against Rumble. I didn't, though. I shorted them at one point, but I'm not shorting them anymore. So their stock was up 18% on the news, $7.90. So they're looking to get into the web hosting business. All right, Taco Bell. So Oakland is in trouble. Taco Bells in Oakland are shutting down their indoor dining because of crime, lawlessness in California. I said California. People say when you're from California, people give you the sideways eye. Here's the news story about Taco Bell closing their indoor dining and just going to cashless takeout only. So, hey, Kat. Kat says, sorry, Nate, I get all Bitcoin bro news from Tim Pool now. Does he do Bitcoin news? I have some Bitcoin news for later in the show. Bitcoin's doing really well. Supply and demand. Anyway, here's the Taco Bell story.
2 Taco Bell locations in Oakland read their dining rooms are closed. One on 35th and MacArthur and the other on the embattled Hagenberger Road, a major thoroughfare leading up to the airport. A Taco Bell employee tells Cron 4 the restaurant has had to do this because people have been causing trouble inside. Oakland Council member Dan Kolb suspects why the area is being targeted by criminals.
It's not so much that it's near the airport as it is near a freeway. Business corridors that are near freeway on-ramps are targets because they commit their crime and they go jump on the freeway and get out of there, and it's harder to find them. And so that's why I want to see high-tech security cameras on freeway on-ramps.
Taco Bell public relations reps sent the following statement saying, quote, providing a safe environment for team members and customers is the priority at Taco Bell restaurants. The franchise owner and operator has informed us that they are consistently evaluating and working to ensure a safe environment by implementing procedures such as closing dining rooms and hiring security guards. And they've taken extra measures to meet with local law enforcement. Oakland Councilmember Noel Gallo says the city is facing an emergency, and if it takes bringing in the National Guard and other local and state law enforcement agencies, then it's time to call for backup.
And we need to
National
enforce
Guard.
the laws that we have.
Just like they did in New
with
York.
the laws that we have apply to me, apply to you, and apply to everybody else. And we have to respect and have loyalty to the city. And that's where government today is not working together to provide the safety for our children and families and for the business.
There you go. That's in Oakland, California. They're thinking about bringing in the National Guard because they have such a crime problem. All right, let me give you the Boeing news. This guy was found dead. This guy was found dead. Here's a recent interview he did from TMZ. Boeing is not looking good. People are choosing not to fly on their most recent planes, the 737 MAX planes, the MAX 8, the MAX 9. Someone just canceled their orders for MAX 10 planes. Here is the guy that died. This was him in an interview that TMZ got. So talking about them fitting substandard parts. And thanks, I did get a coffee. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Denise, who says sending love. Appreciate you. Thanks for supporting the show. I appreciate you. Here we go.
One, this is not a 737 problem. It's a Boeing problem. And I know the FAA's gone in and they've done due diligence and inspections to assure that the door plugs of the 737 are installed properly and the fasteners are stored properly. But my concern is, what's the rest of the airplane? What's the rest of the condition of the airplane? And the reason my concern for that is back in 2012, Boeing started removing inspection operations off their jobs. So it left the mechanics to buy off their own work. So what we're seeing with the door plug blowout is what I've seen with the rest of the airplane, as far as jobs not being completed properly, inspection steps being removed, issues being ignored. My concerns are with the 737 and the 787, because those programs have really embraced the theory that quality is overhead and non-value added. So those two programs have really put a strong effort into removing quality from the process. When I first started working at Charleston, I was in charge with pushing back defects to our suppliers. And what that meant was I'd take a group of inspectors and actually go to the supplier and inspect their product before they sent it in. Well, I'd taken a team of 4 inspectors to Spirit Aerosystems to inspect the 41 section before they sent it to Charleston. And we found 300 defects. Some of them were significant that needed engineering intervention. When I returned to Charleston, my senior manager told me we had found too many defects and he was going to take the next trip. So the next trip he went on, he took 2 of my inspectors. And when they got back, they were given accolades for only finding 50 defects. So I pulled that inspector aside and I said, did Spirit really clean up their act that quick? That don't sound right. And she was mad. She said, no. Said the 2 inspectors were given 2 hours to inspect the whole 41 section and they were kicked off the airplane.
There you go. So that's what's going on at Boeing. Boeing is, what is Alex Jones is saying, collapse of Boeing foreshadows a dystopic post-industrial future. You can go on apps now and choose which planes you want to fly on. And the ones he's talking about are the new 737 Maxes and the 787 Dreamliner. This is Al Jazeera, who did an undercover investigation and asked Boeing employees if they would fly on a Boeing plane. So here's that undercover investigation where they say they wouldn't. Here.
This is a Boeing factory in the US state of South Carolina. Workers here in Charleston are assembling the company's flagship product.
Yes, Kat, with one conspiracy theory is that it's all a psyop to make us not want to fly because of climate change. So that's what they want us all stuck in our houses with our Apple Vision Pros in micro apartments or what have you. So yeah, some people are saying that. Some people are saying it's all designed so that we don't feel safe flying, so that we don't fly and then we don't put carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So that's one theory.
Product, the 787 Dreamliner. But this footage reveals some have little faith in the plane they build.
Did you fly on one? No. You won't fly on one. Did you fly on one of these planes?
Of 15 workers asked randomly, 10 said they would not fly on the Dreamliner.
I wouldn't fly on one of these planes because I see the quality going down around here.
An employee captured the footage after contacting Al Jazeera to tell us he had serious concerns about what he was seeing. At his request, we changed his voice.
with all the problems reported on the 787, there's 90% that's getting swept away, hushed up. It's an iceberg.
In another meeting, the source told us
Sounds
workers
bad.
are often underskilled, uncaring, and in some cases on drugs.
I've seen a lot of things that should not go on at an airplane plant. People talking about doing drugs, looking for drugs.
It's all coke and painkillers and what's the other one? We can get weed here. It's really good weed here. They don't drug test nobody.
I know they don't.
There's people who go out there and watch you go smoke one up.
Do they?
Hell yeah.
Over the course of a year, Al Jazeera's investigative unit.
There you go. That's the 787. Klaus Schwab said there haven't been many issues with that thing yet. Not yet. But there you go. That's the news. And here's a report from the Daily Mail based on a New York Times report. FAA audit of Boeing 737 production found mechanics using hotel card and dish soap as makeshift tools. And they found Boeing failed 33 out of 89 product audits, with a total of 97 counts of alleged noncompliance, the auditors found. Spirit Aerosystems, which makes the body of the 737 MAX, the one with the door that fell off, failed 7 out of 13 product audits conducted by the FAA. And one of the failures was installation of the doors. So that's what's going on. Here's FAA auditors spotted mechanics from the company using a hotel key card to check the seal on a door in one instance, and witnessed other Spirit mechanics applying Dawn liquid soap to a door seal as a lubricant in the fit-up process. New York Times reported. In the latter incident, the mechanics used wet cheesecloth to wipe away the dish soap and clean the door seal. So there you go. Yeah, whether it makes you scared to fly. And then you don't know whether your pilots are qualified either. So all kinds of stories about that in the news. Okay, on to transgender non-binary news. Pete Buttigieg's husband is in a conflict with libs of TikTok for sharing this video where he has people pledging allegiance to an LGBTQ flag.
All right. I pledge my heart to the rainbow, the not so typical gay camp, one camp, full of pride, indivisible, with affirmation and equal rights for all. Watch your head.
So apparently he's in a battle with libs of TikTok for sharing that video. So there he is telling people to pledge allegiance to the rainbow instead of pledging allegiance to the flag. People say there's a word for that. That's what they're saying. Puberty blockers aren't being prescribed in the UK anymore because of severe side effects. So that actually is happening in one country. So puberty blockers, Elon Musk tweeted this, aka sterilization drugs, he says, will no longer be prescribed to children in Britain.
Let's just bring you a bit of breaking news, which may be of interest to some of you. It's about puberty blockers. Now, these are drugs that are used to delay the changes of puberty in transgender youngsters. In terms of how they are prescribed by the NHS, there has been a lot of controversy over the last few years about this. At the moment, they are only prescribed to children attending gender identity services as part of clinical research, and they are not routinely offered to children at gender identity clinics, but they are still offered. Well, the government, NHS England, has just confirmed that children will no longer be prescribed puberty blockers at gender identity clinics. This is coming from NHS England. It just broke in the last few moments.
There you go. So that's happening in other countries where they're stopping it so they're stopping puberty blockers in the UK, might be coming to us next. According to a study in California, they say they use this suicide thing all the time and say you have to transition your child and affirm their gender identity, otherwise they'll commit suicide. Well, this California study said the attempted suicide rate among men who had gender surgery was twice as high as it was before the operation. So they're showing that the suicidality goes up when you get gender reassignment surgery, for men at least. Here's a skincare company, Aveeno, is promoting gender confusion for kids. This is their commercial showing a kid.
New Aveeno Kids, created for big kids' sensitive
A
skin and
boy
still
dressed
developing
up as a
hair.
girl.
It's easy squeezy. I can do it. Because every can-do moment leads to another. A ballerina astronaut? Awesome! New Aveeno Kids. I can do it.
So boy
New
dressed up in a
Aveeno-
skirt. So there you go. There's a guy in the UK, Belgium. I'm sorry, in Belgium. Belgian politician was sentenced to a year in prison for being in a group chat with offensive memes. He was just in a group chat where they determined there were racist memes shared, and because of that, he is going to prison. So be thankful you live in the United States where that can't happen yet. So I have some racial news. I have crypto news. I have RFK Jr. saying he's going to make America the most crypto-friendly place in the world. Hold on. But Biden's new plan, they're proposing a 30% tax on electricity used by Bitcoin miners. Miners, not miners, but miners, people who mine Bitcoin, not people under 18. I have Ken and Drake on Instagram shared a Michael Saylor clip today. He shared this Michael Saylor clip.
Does it ever have to be a currency, or do you think it ever becomes a quote unquote currency?
It doesn't have to be a currency. Nobody's trying to buy a cup of coffee with a fraction of their building on Fifth Avenue, right?
There you go.
Does it ever have to be?
That's what Drake posted today on Instagram. I have RFK Jr. saying he's going to make America the most crypto-friendly state. Let me check on the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's hanging out. It was hanging out around 71. Yeah, 71,000 right now. 71,000. It hit a new record high today, around 73,000. Bitcoin did. So here's RFK Jr. talking about what he do with crypto.
My presidential campaign is, one of the priorities for us is transactional freedom, and promoting America as a hub for cryptocurrency innovation, as an alternative to rebuild the middle class in our country, to end the war economy. Fiat currency is the product of a war economy. It's the way that wars are financed. When wars used to be financed by gold, they would end when the gold ran out. Now they never end because we can just print money all the time. If we had cryptocurrency as a central part of our monetized economy, it would inject discipline into that process, and it would decrease the chances for war. It's a way to rebuild the middle class, to provide an off-ramp from this monopolistic, globalized banking system. And that's critical for us. Jamie Dimon actually made a statement this week in which he said that the plan was for the regulatory agencies to obliterate Bitcoin. And that, is a method of controlling all of us. And that and the central bank digital currencies and the end of analog currencies, we ought to be moving in the other direction. During the Great Depression, there were over 3,000 local currencies in our country, and that is where we need to be moving back toward more currencies to rebuild the American middle class, not make them the slaves to the Fed.
If elected president, how would you engage with the crypto industry? Crypto is becoming increasingly partisan in Capitol Hill. What would our relationship look like if you were president?
I'm already talking to the top people in the crypto industry and about how do you do this? How do you make America the hub of crypto innovation? how do you end the SEC's war on crypto? How do you encourage individual Americans across the board to own crypto to protect themselves as a hedge against inflation? And how do we unravel the Wall Street control of Main Street, of the local economy? Oh, and when I get into the White House, I plan to bring in those people as advisors to figure out how are we going to make how are we going to make cryptos part of the American experience and part of the commitment to in America for freedom.
As the crypto industry, what advice do you have for us as to
there's a little of RFK Jr. Some people tuning out while he's talking, so I'll move on to other news. What other news do I have for you guys? I'll just finish with this. Actually, if you want to support the show, you can still go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. I got one coffee so far this show. You can also go to our t-shirt shop, truthclothing.io, and pick up any of this stuff. I had somebody get a couple propaganda sweatshirts today. Those are going out. There's propaganda hoodies, propaganda shirts. Those are really great conversation starters out in public. Get a decentralized shirt, Truth Matters, Question Everything, Bitcoin Saves. Even Litecoin is doing well. You can get a Litecoin t-shirt for $15. All the crypto shirts are on sale for $15 or so. So check out everything on our site, truthclothing.io. And I'll show you this last thing. The income divide in politics is almost closed, and the richest now favor Democrats over Republicans, and the poorest and the middle third are moving heavily toward Republican. The middle third are tilting toward Republican. And it's the richest that used to support Republicans that are now in favor of Democrats overall. So and that's in addition to the racial changes. So the racial changes in voting. So, all right, cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Oh, thanks, Becky. Hey, thanks, Becky Olson, for the $5. You sent me an email a couple weeks ago. Okay, I'll have to check my email with info from a Crow 777 episode to help with bipolar and other mental issues. Thank you. I'll check for your email, Becky. Thank you for that. And thanks for the $5 super chat. It actually got me to my goal overall. So I appreciate that, Becky. Yeah, we're trying to cure depression with keto diet, if possible. So, and with your help doing the show every day. So thanks for tuning into the show. Appreciate everybody who came here. And I'll see you at the next one tomorrow. We should be live tomorrow at the same time, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time for the Lift the Veil show. All right, everybody, have a good rest of your day, and I should see you tomorrow. All right, for now, that's what it is.